Hey YouTube, this is Adam Bigott. Really excited. This is the first real content I'm bringing you guys. This is a matchup between me on the right playing Eelzone versus my good friend Shen of Team Saki on the left playing Reshiphlosion. Just a couple things to note. He is using a couple of proxies, but he's using ones from the World Championship card series, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. We see that I mulligan right off the bat, and he draws a lone basic. So just a little bit about this matchup. It's definitely an interesting one because we kind of run decks that are similar. His is really the same as mine, whereas his just uses a stage 2 to energy accelerate and a basic to attack, where I'm using the stage 2 to attack and stage 1 to accelerate. We see that I do hit a basic there. We did see the clef in my hand. We both lay out our prizes, and I think he actually forgets to take his mulligan card, but you'll see, it won't really matter in a minute here. So I lead off Lone Cleffa, and I guess I go for the Eek, or I play the N, so I force us to both shuffle our hands into our decks right away. So I guess the mulligan card didn't really matter there too much. Also on the flip, I don't know if I said that. So turn 1 ends are a decent source of mild disruption. You can't really predict what your opponent has in their hand, unless they tell you they have a good hand, which I feel like in this format with N, as a popular card, especially in this deck, which he knows I'm playing, it's really it's a bad idea to announce that you have a good hand. So you do see me draw into a couple of things. I bench a Tynamo, Thundurus, and a Magnemite. I believe the Tynamo is the 40 HP Tynamo. I know the angle's a little awkward there. I couldn't get the camera as elevated as I would have liked to, and now we see me eek. So a decent turn 1 considering I don't have the collector. I'm not really afraid of eking. I do stay awake. And not having the multiples of my basics out turn 1 because Reshiphlosion isn't really the best attacking deck turn 1. He does hit the turn 1 collector though, and he grabs out a Vulpix, a Cyndaquil, and what I was going to expect was a second Cyndaquil, but as we're going to find out, and it's going to be really the defining moment of this game actually comes when Eric lays down his prize cards as he cuts me there for my eek. Is that Eric actually has 3 of his Cyndaquils prized, which is a bit unfortunate. But we decided to play on. It's it happens in games, and it's going to make the matchup really difficult for him. So he just grabs another Reshiram, and I actually take a peek at it simply because I hadn't actually seen that promo Reshiram. I promise I know what the card does. A little funny moment there, but and I think he just benches a clef of his own, and I don't think there's too much else he can do. Both flipping through our hands really fast there, but yeah, he's just gonna pass it back to me. Gonna attach to the Thundurus. I play a Sages, I believe. I know it's hard to see my discard there, so I'll try and tell you what I'm doing, but unfortunately, camera angle's not the best. We do see a lot of lightning hit the discard. I do discard a collector, I remember, but bit unfortunate that you can't see my discard when that's one of the most important things. And then I believe I evolved into a Magneton, and which is really puts me in a good situation simply because now when I eek I only have to hit the single Magnezone. We do see a Thundurus was in my hand, but because I have already played down a Cleffa and a secondary attacker, the one Thundurus, I don't want to fill up my bench with kind of other big bulky basics when I do need multiples of my the basics of my stage 1 and 2 out. So I just go ahead and eek and hope I hit the zone next turn. And he's kind of in a tricky spot. There's not too much he can do. He probably won't be able to attack this turn, and even if he can, I'm asleep. He goes for the Sage of his own, and he does get the Ninetales out as well. I forgot to mention that when he dropped it, but pretty fast-paced moving game. Neither of us is a very slow player from what I've noticed. He does get a couple fire in the discard here. It's interesting to note how getting fire in the discard works for his deck because at this point he really, it's not clear if he should get fire in the discard or not because he only has the one Cyndaquil. The only has one potential Typhlosion. So putting fire energy in the discard, depending on what recovery you run, is kind of risky when you, I mean, really for both these decks when you don't have much going on acceleration wise. So I am able to attach to my Thundurus. I get the Magnezone out. I catch her out his Kulava, and I play Communication, and I get out my Eelektrik. So he's not looking in a good place. I do have the lightning in the discard, as you can see, so I should be set up for the turn 2, or is that turn 3? Oh, that's turn 3. The turn 3 Disaster Volt, which should still be pretty effective. I use my Magnetic Draw to boost my hand back up, hoping to, gosh, I drew a lot of cards there. Just hoping to get some more basics and get him down. Only having one Magnezone on the field is not the greatest. I do see another catcher in my hand. So I junk arm 2 cards for Communication here, which I do think is smart. And I grab out the Dynamo though, and I don't really agree with my own play there because setting up a second Magnezone is really more important in case one does get knocked out because that's my draw. Without Magnezone, my deck is pretty much, dead draw-wise. This deck doesn't run a ton of draw supporters, only 8 4N and 4 Sage, simply because you don't have room. I take the Disaster Volt KO, and someone takes a peek at Thundurus to see what he does. And he promotes Cleffa. So now I'm really in the driver's seat. I have really board advantage and prize advantage. For the most part, he probably will be able to take a prize. I think he has 2 energy on a Reshiram, but in terms of just him not being able to accelerate energy in this game and me being able to, it's basically the determining factor there unless he can get a Cyndaquil out of the prize cards. However, we did see earlier in my hand that I do have multiple I had a Pokemon catcher, in my hand, and I do run 4 junk arms, so being able to junk arm for those should be fairly easy. We see Eric is pressured into eking and stays awake, so all I need to do is attach an energy to take a prize. As I allow him to just kind of take his cards before I start, or I kind of think over what I'm going to do. I go for an energy attachment so I can ensure my prize card against his Cleffa. And then I think this is my Magnetic Draw. I hit a Pokemon Collector there, and I do think I had a Communication and a Rare Candy as well, so I should probably try and set up another Magnum, and I hope I play the Communication here. Because really right now, getting the second Magnezone out is the most important thing. I grabbed 2 cards. I think I only grabbed 2 because I'm trying to limit the size of my hand. And then I communicate back in the Zekrom there because I know that since he doesn't have any Typhlosions he can potentially get on the field, doing 120 damage in a deck that doesn't run plus power is really not very good against Reshiphlosion. That'll put him at a range where for 2 energy he could Outrage to KO my Magnezones. So at that point, I'd rather do the 80, and because both are 2-hit KOs, so I'd rather do the 80 with Thundurus. I do take my second prize there, and I'm in a really good position. I have energy acceleration. I'm building up a Magnezone on the bench. I'm probably going to be able to get another one out soon, seeing as I have the Rare Candy in hand, and I have a catcher, so I'll be able to take a cheap price against Ninetales. Probably only lost burning 2 energy, or even trying to use Thundurus. But yeah, it's really Eric's game to kind of come back with. He only has 2 energy, so he can't take the Blue Flare KO this turn. And he just goes for the Outrage here, which is an alright play. I mean, there's really not much else you can do, so I guess I can't say it's only alright. It's really the only option. And I just continue to Dynamotor, so that's 3 energy on my Magnezone. I don't believe I have the energy in hand though to attach to my Thundurus at the moment, which is a little worrisome for me. That is the one problem this deck has. Whereas Reshiphlosion has the advantage is that Eelzone has to worry more about how it's going to attach to its active if it doesn't have enough energy there. You also run Magnezone as one of your main attackers. I believe I fail a collector there just to lower my hand size. And so Eelzone has to worry about its how it attaches to its active, and also runs Magnezone, which is a 3 retreat Pokemon, which is so very difficult to manually retreat. And you do run I do run 2 switch, and which is fairly standard for most lists from what I've seen. But you really do have to worry about how you get energy onto Pokemon and how you spread energy, and that's one thing I don't really agree with. I hit the energy there from that magnetic draw. That's really one thing I don't agree with how I'm playing right now, is that I'm not attaching energy to my Eels, and I'm really just building up all this energy on one Magnezone, which is really could potentially come back to bite me. Another thing that I do that I don't necessarily agree with here is that I pass up taking a KO by using Catcher, and I essentially am giving him a prize card here by putting the 80 damage on him. He's going to be able to outrage me back for 100. I only have 90 health left. He plays a Gust of Wind, which is actually a catcher for proxy, or a proxy for catcher, I'm sorry. And then we see him play down 2 Junk Arms, and these 4 cards he's playing down are the 4 cards he's discarding. And I'm checking his deck. I believe that he has the plus power, and he discards a Typhlosion, a Quilava, Communication, something else. So I'm really surprised by this. This is what I was saying, how I wasn't setting up the Magnezone first, and he is able to Blue Flare and one-shot my Magnezone. We see me clinging to my Cleffa. That's something I've been, I think I'm a little, not frustrated, but just surprised with the play there. But we do see me hold on to my Cleffa as a way to remember that I'm supposed to be using Cleffa to promote rather than being kind of thick-headed and promoting Thundurus, thinking that's the card I want to attack with. Cleffa has free retreat, and as we talked about with the how you attach energy, it's nice to have a free retreater on your bench because it gives you a lot of mobility in between KOs and helps you to recover from those KOs by attaching energy the way that you really want to. So we see an N from me here. Really more for me than disrupting him. I know he doesn't have Cyndaquil, so there's really nothing. There's nothing in his deck he really needs aside from energy, which he's probably going to hit no matter what I do. So we'll see what I hit. I retreat, and we don't see the Magnezone from me, which is a little upsetting. I believe that actually 2 of my Magnezone were prized this game. Maybe. I know that I had some Magnezones prized in this best of series, so we'll see if it's here or if it's later on. I do only have 3 prize cards though, so. He promotes another Reshi. At this point, I believe I've only taken out 2 of them at the most. He attaches, and we're really seeing the shortcomings of his deck in that he cannot accelerate energy fast enough. I play a collector here. He was only able to attach and pass. I grab out Tynamo, the free retreater. I run one of. I grab a Magnemite, which is the 4th Magnemite from my deck, and I grab my Zekrom. I believe I'm doing this to use a communication, and then I'm communicating. My Magnezones are not prized, excuse me, and I do have the rare candy in hand. So I think I decide to, despite the fact that I had been Dynamotoring on, again, foolishly only onto one Pokemon, I'm going to rare candy to get the Magnezone because that will drop more cards from my hand, and I will be able to get another Magnezone simply by just dropping it onto my Magneton. So I attach, still going with my one Thundurus. I've taken 3 prize cards and not attacked with Magnezone, which is kind of a strange occurrence for this deck. But I am able to double Dynamotor here onto my Magnezone, which is a nice thing. I do have 7 energy before I attack there on the field, so kind of some flexibility, I guess, with that sort of lead. And I again put 80 damage on a Reshiram. Here, something to note is that I believe the 20 damage that was on Thundurus somehow got lost, but I don't think it mattered. He played a plus power and he was able to knock me out anyways. So maybe a little confusion there. Although I do think I do have a second Thundurus on my bench, I think. Or no, that's my discard. I apologize. So maybe a misplay, or not a misplay, but a miscalculation by both of us there. Neither of us noticed. As one of Eric's friends is peeking at his prize cards, kind of to see where the Clef is. That was, I think, at this point, the only card that is not a Cyndaquil. I think I might have said Cleffa there, but I meant Cyndaquil. So he has 3 prize Cyndaquils, as we've said before. As I Magnetic draw up. And here I'm really in the driver's seat. I think I only need to Lost Burn 1 to knock out this Reshiram. And from there, I'm just going to be able to continuously Lost Burn. And I think that that's going to pretty much be the way I carry over. You see how important energy acceleration is in these 2 decks, and while they can function sometimes, Eric's strategy really at that point was to we talked about this kind of matchup, and that if you can't get out Typhlosion, the best thing to do is try and make your opponent Lost Burn as much as possible as their only attack, because Reshiram's a big basic, and you have to Lost Burn 3 energy to knock it out. So really you have, at most, 4 Lost Burn KOs taking out Reshirams. 4 being quite a bit of lightning energy burnt. I only run 13, so that would mean that in order to kill 4 Reshirams using Lost Burn, I'd only have 1 left in my deck, which is, and that's not even counting, you know, if 1 were prized or something like that. So I believe Eric's just kind of mulling through his options now, kind of seeing how he can come back from the prize card deficit when he doesn't have energy acceleration, and I'm just going to be taking 1-hit KOs. We do see the Gust of Wind, which is a catcher proxy in his hand. The thing to catch her out would probably be an Eel because of their retreat cost and their lack of energy. But Eric decides to scoop at this point. Not being able to get his Cyndaquils out, you know, being prized, was too much for him to really be able to come back from. And great game, and we'll be moving on to game 2 shortly. Alright guys, thanks for watching.